Hi, my name is Evan, and in 672 days, I'll be 40 years old. And in that time, I hope to be working for myself, doing ministry full-time. One of the things I'm working on to get there is Liz and I are making our class, Creating Your Ideal Spiritual Life, and we thought we'd have it launched by now. It's the end of February, but we're working on it. One of the things I've been working on is writing. We're going to be offering a series of bonuses, and the one I'm working on is kind of setting up the system for having a self-examined life, which I talked about that a lot in the podcast there on this channel. The document I'm writing now is going to be an outline of how that works and where do we get the information from. What systems do we like, and what have we learned from ourselves? And it's kind of interesting. So on President's Day, I went to a funeral, and it was really, really beautiful. And I talk about that in this clip I'm going to show, but it just really brought up one of the things that JB talks about, which is picture your own eulogy and write your own eulogy. So wanted to share that with you. One of the things I'm working on right now for Epic Every Day is I'm writing the bonus material right now for the vision framework. We're not really sure what we're going to call it. Will Mancini has a program when he calls it the vision frame, so we can't use that. We also really like J.B. Glossinger's book, The Sacred Six. It's kind of a similar process where you figure out what's important. It's basically a way to set good goals and to start actually achieving your goals and to organize your life in a way that makes sense, where you want to do the things that are, you want to get done the things that are important. And so anyway, I've been writing that for Epic Every Day, trying to figure out, what we're going to call it and stuff, but we're pulling heavily on those two systems, being inspired by them. And anyway, one of the things that J.B. Glossinger recommends you do is write your own eulogy, envision your funeral. And it's a sobering exercise, and imagine what will be said at your funeral. What would you like to be said at your funeral? And then live towards that. I mean, you want people to say that stuff at your funeral and not a bunch of other stuff that's not that important to you, right? You want someone to say, that I was a good friend. I want someone to say that I knew how to listen and that I cared about people, and my strongest desire was to be obedient to God, and I understood that freedom comes from faith and obedience, true freedom in life, and that freedom is important, but freedom in God is the only true freedom. Just what do you want people to say at your funeral? Thinking about that today, actually just came from a funeral service, and it was very, very good. This person was honored well and remembered well, and the life after this person has just begun, and I think that's important as well. That's why we like to call Epic Every Day a gymnasium, or maybe a science laboratory, where our life here, the day in, day out, daily grind, the stuff I've been trying to iron out today, what do I want my day to look like so that I can, over the course of many days, accomplish what's important. This is the gymnasium. I'm practicing doing that stuff now, because in eternity with God and with the saints, I will be living forever with God and with the saints. And I would imagine, how can that be a fulfilling life without spiritual work, continuing on into the great unknown, after this life? So this laboratory, this gymnasium, this preparation time of life is quite important, and I want my days to be as intentional as possible. And going to a funeral is an excellent reminder of that. It's also an excellent reminder that feelings are important, and they're not controllable, and that's got to be fine. They're natural processes. It's part of being human, and it's not my job to stifle emotions. It's my job to observe and understand seek the truth. I also wanted to share this clip from Peter Scazzero, and it's in the same vein. When I start to do self-reflection, when I start to look into myself, I see things that I'm like, God, why is it like this? Why did this have to happen this way? And it's very confusing. And Peter Scazzero, I think, just lays out really beautifully how nothing is wasted with God.
Now, I know some of your stories in this room, and you say, well, God, why did you allow this to happen? And what's going on here? And you say, why, God, why'd you give me this? And I don't know the answer to all that, but I do know this. Much like in my own life, my own family I grew up in, I think even as I became a Christian, I didn't get the kind of discipleship I would have liked or mentoring for years. It seemed like I was making a lot of mistakes that could have been avoided with the right kind of discipleship. God, why didn't you just send a mentor my way or something? And it's true, you can choose to be angry and bitter and blaming everybody, or you can make a choice to move towards a burning bush, get a bit of God's perspective as you trust Him, and say, oh my gosh, nothing is wasted in God.
So I wanted to share those clips with you, share a little bit of an update about how the mission framework, I think we're going to end up calling it mission filter. We're still working on the wording, but the idea for that document is going to be, what is kind of the scaffolding around how you are giving your own life a grade? How do you grade your own life to tell if you're being successful or not? How do you know if you're being a good Christian? And so that's what that document's going to help you discover once we get it written. So excited to share that with you. Thanks for watching. Today's episode is going to be kind of a name drop.